Hey guys, some of the documents that were recently ordered to be unsealed in Blake Lively versus Justin Baldoni have finally started to show up on the docket. So I'm going to run through some of these with you guys now. There are a couple that still haven't come up, and also the audio, the recording of Steve Sarowitz is not yet uploaded, but the declaration of the person who made that recording without Steve Sarowitz's knowledge, that is released. Just a reminder that I'm not a lawyer, so I'm only here to talk about things from a public opinion perspective. But we'll start with this declaration from Blake's kind of mystery witness that everybody's been wondering about. Blake Lively claims other women have asked that Justin Baldoni not be involved in marketing or on set because of his behavior. Now, this is the person she came up with as an example of that. Keep that in mind. And this is the only person she was able to use as an example when she filed that 47.1 motion. It's not fantastic. Now, again, remember, I can only talk from a public opinion standpoint, but it's not a great look if you've been paying attention at all. So this is the declaration of Claire Ayub. I don't know how to say that, so we're just going to call her Claire. If you're wondering who the fuck Claire is, then you're on the same page as most people. She was not involved with It Ends With Us. It was a different project that was filmed years prior. She says, I wrote and directed a film called Empire Waste, which was produced by Wayfarer Studios. Justin Baldoni, a founder of Wayfarer, was a producer. As part of my work on Empire Waste, I had repeated negative interactions with Mr. Baldoni and his associates, including verbal abuse by Mr. Baldoni. Now, that's pretty vague and nondescript. You're going to have to do a little better than that. Because these days, especially when everybody's up in their selective outrage, what somebody classifies as verbal abuse may not actually be verbal abuse. It's actually quite common for people to misuse therapy terms like that. Perhaps he said something that you didn't like. Well, we wouldn't know that because you didn't explain, and I gotta think, hey, there's probably a reason for that. I asked Wayfarer that Mr. Baldoni not be permitted on set during the majority of production as a result of those experiences. Again, nondescript. It sounds like he may have said something the wrong way, said something that hurt your feelings, said something you didn't like. Who knows if that was intentional or not? That's not really a fair characterization, is it? And it's also very suspicious in the context of what's going on here, which I'll explain. But we need the rest of this to really understand. Empire Waste was set to be released in the fall of 2024, in August of that year. As a result of my experiences with Mr. Baldoni and ongoing press coverage relating to Mr. Baldoni and It Ends With Us, I requested that he not be involved in Empire Waste marketing or public relations efforts. Wayfarer agreed to my request. So based on the press coverage around what Blake Lively was saying, okay, way to go. I'd totally buy it now. Less than a week after reaching that agreement, I was contacted by the assistant to Steve Sarowitz, the co-founder and co-chairman of Wayfarer, to schedule a time for me and Mr. Sarowitz to speak. Well, yeah, you just directed one of their projects. Mr. Sarowitz's assistant did not identify a topic for the meeting. I feared that Mr. Sarowitz wanted to discuss my recent request relating to Mr. Baldoni. All I learned from that right there is that you jump to conclusions and have an immediate negative interpretation of things that are ambiguous. So forgive me if I don't think your characterization of negative experiences with Mr. Baldoni is really all that credible, when you seem to be feeling very negative energy from something that hasn't even happened yet, because the co-founder and co-chairman of Wayfarer, whose project you just directed, just wants to meet with you. Worried that Mr. Sarowitz might pressure me to abandon the prior agreement I had reached with Wayfarer, I recorded our meeting. Okay, yeah, so you told him, listen, Steve, I'm feeling a little uneasy about what's going on. I'm going to record this conversation, right? No, she did it secretly. She did not inform him that she was recording the meeting. A true and correct copy of that recording, produced in discovery, is being submitted with this declaration. So this audio recording, it's been instructed to be unsealed, but has not yet been released. Remember, though, that Steve Sarowitz's attorneys went to the judge and said, we want this unsealed because it's only fair to Mr. Sarowitz that the whole thing be shown to the public, not just this little bit of context they're using to make him look bad. So this is one of those smoking guns Blake pretends to have, and it's, yikes. Not a good one, if you ask me. We have a few pieces of deposition transcripts. This one is from Vivian Baker, who I think was Blake's hairdresser, hairstylist, whatever she was. One of Blake's cosmetic people that you would probably know the word for if you were like remotely girly, because I do not. Sorry. Justin's attorney, Ellen Garofalo, here asks, you described for us in response to Ms. Bender's question several incidents that you characterized, I believe, as inappropriate. Did all of those incidents occur during the first phase of the filming? That would be correct. Here they're asking about what she did to prepare for this meeting, and I kind of think I know where they're going with this one. You had a few Zoom calls and a meeting with a couple of hours to prepare for deposition, correct? Was anybody else at the meeting that you had with your counsel? And remember, this is the person that Ellen was complaining Blake's attorneys had taken frequent breaks during this deposition and stretched things out to the point that she had to rush through Wayfair's portion of the deposition because Miss Baker had to get on a plane at a certain time. Ellen said something along the lines of Miss Baker's side being compensated by Miss Lively's side. Now, I don't know if she actually meant monetarily. I think that meant something else in that context, but I couldn't really figure it out because it wasn't all laid out. This is Warren Zavala, who I believe is Blake's talent agent. The question was, are you aware of any incidents that made Miss Lively uncomfortable during the second phase of filming? Her talent agent says no. Question, your second visit to the set occurred during the second phase of filming, correct. And everything seemed to be going well to your observation during that second visit. Yes, correct. And then they go into talking about Blake and Justin's issues when they were in post, having problems with the cut of the film that she didn't like. Of course she didn't. She wanted her cut of the film. But unfortunately it cuts off there, so we don't really get much from that. So this last one's a bit more interesting. It's Danny Greenberg. Ms. Garofalo says, is it your practice to choose words carefully when conveying an important message? Danny says, I do my best. Ellen says, and you used the word extortion in this chat, suggesting to Mr. Baldoni what he might write to Sony. Danny says, it felt appropriate at the moment. Ellen says, but then you go on to say, don't in any way put Sony on the defense or indict them. Then if you can be contrite in some capacity, very briefly, acknowledging the two of you had your moments which she would dissect your energy, word choice, and personality frequently that led to mutual discomfort working with one another. Not everyone gets along kind of thing. Not all personalities are compatible. Sounds like Blake was dissecting everything Justin would do or say so that she could find a way to complain about it. And this is still Ellen, the attorney for Wayfair, talking. Now, when you were suggesting to Mr. Baldoni that he write something to Sony saying other people have agreements or downplaying the agreements, did you believe that Mr. Baldoni was taking Miss Lively's conduct too seriously? Danny says, I'm not really following the question. So Ellen withdraws it. You used the word extortion, correct? He says, yes. Ellen says, sounds to me like you believed at the time of this chat, July 26, 2024, that it was more than just ordinary incompatibility between Mr. Baldoni and Miss Lively. Is that a true statement? Danny says, I think my use of the word extortion there was referencing just cumulative behavior that both the studio and Wayfair and Justin was having to manage. And so that's why I used the word. That doesn't make any... Who ordered the word salad? And then we can see it goes on down here. That would be more than just a disagreement between two different personalities, wouldn't it, Mr. Greenberg? Danny says, well, their personalities, again, this is the dressing on the word salad, guys, I guess. I think the text speaks for itself, but I think they were not getting along, and so I think it's important. I was just suggesting to Justin that he be, and then unfortunately it cuts off. We can't see these entire transcripts, just the portions that are released, so. All right, so that all looks kind of interesting for the Blake Lively camp. As far as the declaration, that's weak as hell. Again, these are just public opinion standpoints. So that's all I got for now, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all soon.